Are you scared? I can see you from...
What the fuck? Holy shit. Oh my god.
Where did you go? I found you.
Oh god.
Sarah, get away.
It's not gonna explode. Oh my god, Eric.
God. I told you.
Right, we're at the playground, and the kids don't want to go anymore because look at this shit. This is real. Look at this. There's no wind out here right now.
No one on it either.
Look, there's nobody on it.
It's just moving.
There's no wind. Look at the other swings, and look at this shit.
I mean, maybe someone pushed it and it just went away, but...
Yeah, it's filming. Go.
Okay.
No, you cocked your wrist too much. Do it again. Slower.
How was that?
What the hell was that?
Hello?
Hello?
Who is it? Who is it?
There's no one there.
Oh my god. I just get out of the house. Get out of the house.
If we turn the camera off, will you print the diamond symbol? Camera's off.
Print the diamond symbol.
Oh my god!
That is so fucking sketchy.
Oh my god!
This thing is printing by itself.
Oh my god!
We're out here running and I swear to fucking God, man, we just saw a clown up over the suspension bridge and I'm sort of freaking out about it. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Yo, what the fuck are you doing, man? It's 7:30 in the morning. Have you heard about all this shit? People are freaking out about this. Yo, does he have a fucking knife? Yo, Patrick, he has a knife. Dude, what the... What the fuck? What the fuck?